states of matter. Let's know about states of matter, particle arrangement in matter, solids, liquids, gases, change of states of matter, solution and solubility. States of matter. Matter is all around us. It is defined as anything that has mass and occupies space. We know that matter exists in three states: solid, liquid, and gas. Everything surrounding us is made up of matter. The air that we breathe and the books that we read is matter. A rock, a table, and a book are solids. Water, petrol, and milk are liquids. Oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen are examples of gases. Particle arrangement in matter. Matter is made of very tiny particles which arrange themselves in different patterns, resulting in three different states of matter. The smallest particles of matter are known as molecules and atoms. The three states of matter, namely solids, liquids, and gases, can be distinguished from each other on the basis of the arrangement of their molecules and the space between these molecules, intermolecular space. Solids. In solids, the particles are tightly packed. There is very little or no intermolecular space. As a result, the particles of solids cannot move around. Thus, they have a definite shape. Properties of solids. The particles in solids are tightly packed. Solids have a definite shape. Solids have a definite volume. Due to strong attraction between molecules, solids do not flow. Liquids. The molecules in liquids are less tightly packed than solids. There is some intermolecular space between them. That is why the particles in liquid can move around. Thus, liquids do not have a fixed shape. They take the shape of the container into which they are poured. Liquids, like solids, have a definite volume. Properties of liquids. The particles in liquids are less tightly packed than solids. Therefore, they can flow. Liquids do not have a definite shape. They take the shape of the container into which they are poured. Liquids have a definite volume. Liquid flow from high level to low level. Gases. The molecules in gases are very loosely packed and have large intermolecular spaces between them. Therefore, they can freely move around. Thus, gases neither have a definite volume, nor do they have a definite shape. They very quickly occupy the space where they are placed. Properties of gases. Particles of gases are very loosely packed. Therefore, they fill the entire space where they are placed. Gases neither have a fixed volume, nor do they have a fixed shape. Gases can flow in all directions. Change of states of matter. We have learnt that all matter exists in three states: solid, liquid, and gas. Matter can change its state from one to other if heated or cooled. For example, ice solid can change its state to water liquid when heated. Water liquid can change its state to vapor gas on heating further. Vapor gas can change its state to water on cooling. Water liquid can change its state to ice solid on cooling further. Let us understand the processes involved in these changes. Let us understand these terms in detail. Melting. When a solid turns into a liquid, it is called melting. The temperature at which this happens is called the melting point. With rise in temperature, the energy of the molecules increases. As a result, they start moving faster, thus moving apart. The melting point of ice is 0 degrees Celsius. Fun facts about melting and boiling. When rocks get really hot, they turn into a liquid called magma or lava. Gas can be turned into a liquid through pressure. By squeezing all the gas molecules tightly together, a gas can become liquid. We use natural gas in our homes in its gaseous state, but when it is shipped in ocean tankers, it is shipped in a liquid state to save the space. Mercury has the interesting properties of being both a metal and a liquid in its standard state. Evaporation. Evaporation is the process by which a liquid changes into a gas. The temperature at which a liquid changes into gas is called its boiling point. On heating, the water becomes gaseous through evaporation. Drying of clothes and also of the sweat on our skin are examples of evaporation. Condensation. Condensation is the process by which a gaseous substance changes into its liquid state by giving out heat. Having a cold drink on a hot day, the can sweats. Water vapor in the air hits the colder surface of the can and turns into liquid water. Freezing or solidification. The process by which a liquid changes into its solid form is called solidification. Water on freezing changes into ice. The temperature at which a liquid changes into a solid is called its freezing point. The freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Do you know? Dry ice. It is actually solid carbon dioxide at a temperature of -79 degrees centigrade. Dry ice is particularly useful for freezing and keeping things frozen because of its very cold temperature, -109.3 degrees Fahrenheit or -78.5 degrees Celsius. Dry ice is widely used because it is simple to freeze and easy to handle using insulated gloves. Dry ice changes directly from a solid to a gas sublimation in normal atmospheric conditions without going through a wet liquid stage. Therefore, it gets the name dry ice. The process by which a solid changes into gas directly is called sublimation. Solution and solubility. A solution is a mixture of molecules that are evenly distributed. A simple solution consists of a solute and a solvent. In a solution, the substance that dissolves is called the solute and the substance in which a solute dissolves is called the solvent. For example, when salt dissolves in water, it forms salt-water solution. Here salt is the solute, water is the solvent, and salty water is the solution. Most substances dissolve in water and hence it is called the universal solvent. Soluble and insoluble substances. Substances that dissolve completely in a solvent to make a solution are called soluble substances. For example, sugar is dissolved in water to make a sugar solution. Substances that do not dissolve in a solvent are called insoluble substances. For example, chalk powder does not dissolve in water. Types of solution. Based on the type and state of solute and solvent present in a solution, there may be different types of solution. Solid in liquid. In this type of solution, a solid dissolves in a liquid solvent to make a solution. Example, salt water solution. Liquid in liquid. In this type of solution, a liquid solute dissolves in a liquid solvent to make a solution. Example, orange juice and water. Gas in liquid. In this type of solution, a gas solute dissolves in a liquid solvent to make a solution. Example, carbonated fizzy drinks. Here carbon dioxide dissolves in water. Oxygen dissolves in water is used by all aquatic animals for breathing. Gas in gas. In this type of solution, a gas solute dissolves in another gas solvent to make a solution. Example, a room freshener sprayed in a room. Air is the perfect example of a mixture of a number of gases, miscible and immiscible liquids. When two liquids, on mixing, mix completely so that one cannot be separated from the other, they are called miscible liquids. For example, milk and water. When two liquids cannot be mixed with each other, they are called immiscible liquids. For example, oil and water. When two such liquids are mixed, a lighter liquid oil floats over the surface of the heavier liquid water. Separation of substances in liquids. Both substances, that is, insoluble and soluble, can be separated from their solvents by using different methods. Separation of insoluble substances. Substances that are insoluble in water can be separated through various processes such as sedimentation, decantation, and filtration. Sedimentation and decantation. These two processes are normally used in combination to separate insoluble solid substances from a mixture of solids and liquids. Sedimentation. The process by which insoluble solid particles settle down at the bottom of a solid liquid mixture is called sedimentation. For example, when muddy water containing soil and sand is left undisturbed, soil and sand being insoluble settle at the bottom. This process is called sedimentation, and the solid substances settling down at the bottom are called sediments. Decantation. This process takes place after sedimentation. The pouring of the upper layer, which contains water, is called decantation. Filtration. This method is used to separate fine insoluble solid particles from a mixture of solid and liquid. In this process, the mixture is allowed to pass through a filtering device. Solid particles are left as residue in the filtering device. The clear liquid passes through the filtering device and is called the filtrate. Separation of soluble substances. Soluble substances may be separated from their solutions by processes such as evaporation and condensation, and also through distillation. Evaporation and condensation. This process involves boiling of the solution containing soluble impurities. For example, salt or sugar can be separated from their solution by a combination of evaporation and condensation. The solution is heated until the water evaporates and the remaining residue is salt or sugar. In this process, however, water is lost through evaporation, which can be obtained back through condensation. Distillation. Distillation is a process of removing soluble impurities from its mixture with water. The process of distillation involves the following steps. The mixture of water and the solution is heated in a round-bottomed flask to boiling temperature. The neck of the round-bottomed flask is connected to a condenser which cools the water vapors that has escaped from the round-bottomed flask. The vapor on cooling changes into water droplets and is collected in a flask attached to the condenser. Pure water, thus collected by the process of distillation, is called distilled water. It is the purest form of water as it is free from all kinds of impurities. However, it is not suitable for drinking as it doesn't even have the dissolved minerals that should be present in drinking water. This water can be used in car and inverter batteries, for medical purpose, in laboratories, etc. In a nutshell, matter exists in three states: solid, liquid, and gas. The three states of matter have different intermolecular spaces. Solids have definite shape and volume. Liquids have no definite shape but have a definite volume. Gases have neither a definite shape nor a definite volume. Matter can be changed from one form to another. The process by which solid changes into liquid on heating is called melting. The process by which a liquid changes into a gas is called evaporation. The process by which a gas changes into liquid is called condensation. The process by which a liquid changes into solid is called freezing. A solution is a mixture of molecules that are evenly distributed. Liquids can be miscible orange juice and water or immiscible oil and water. Substances insoluble in water may be separated by sedimentation, decantation, and filtration. Substances soluble in water are separated by evaporation and condensation and distillation. Keywords: contraction, decrease in the size of substance on cooling. Evaporation, the change from liquid to gas. Miscible, when two liquids mix completely so that one cannot be separated from the other. Immiscible, when two liquids cannot be mixed with each other. Sedimentation, the process by which insoluble solid particles settle down at the bottom of a solid-liquid mixture. Decantation, the process by which the clear liquid at the top is poured after sedimentation. Filtration, this method is used to separate fine insoluble solid particles from a mixture of solid and liquid. Distillation, a process of removing soluble impurities from its mixture with water,